What's going on, family? I appreciate you being here. Hey, I said you'd be seeing more of me, and I'll be seeing more of you. Like it or not, we here, man. Right back at it. Just super grateful, man. Woke up in a really grateful mood. Incredible day out. It's beautiful. There's always something to be grateful for, though. No matter what you got going on, no matter how crazy life seems, you know how much you got on your plate right now, how much the enemy's trying to take you down. I'm telling you guys, there's always something to be grateful for. So I hope you can feel that. You know, you can look in the mirror, close your eyes, look out the window, just look around you, whatever you need to do to just find something to be grateful for. I hope you can do that today. But today it was really gonna kind of be part one of two about a similar concept here. And the general scope or theme is really about loving those who do you wrong, you know, those who betray you, backstab you, kick you while you're down, you know, still having love for them, you know, through forgiveness, through selflessness, you know, denying your flesh and getting rid of that like eye for an eye mentality that the world kind of tries to hardwire into us. Like if somebody does you wrong, totally reasonable and acceptable from the world standpoint to get back what they got from you, or even worse. Like I hear people all the time say, oh man, like I can't wait till it's my turn to get back on them. Like I'll take twice as much as they took from me. You know, it's this mentality of like, again, just like an eye for an eye, like, oh, you did me wrong, wait till it's my turn, I'm gonna get you back. Like I'll do even worse than you did me. And ultimately through today's story, and again, part two will come out next week on a similar note, but it's just so fascinating to just kind of sit and really think about it as far as like how it goes for revenge and how it's not ours to do. Like God's got us in that department. You know, we try and take control. We try and think of like, oh, well, I know how much it hurt me, so I'm gonna use that hurt, and that hurt is gonna fuel what I do to them, and they're gonna feel just as bad, if not even worse than what I felt. Like they gotta feel this because they made me feel this way. You know, we try and make somebody else feel an emotion that we feel. And just thinking about that logic is crazy because it's like everybody reacts differently to different things. Like certain things don't affect you the way that they might affect me, and vice versa. Like we all got different buttons that get pushed in different ways. So it's like, that's ultimately what revenge is, right at the root of it. It's like, oh man, you made me feel so hurt and so much pain in this moment because you did this to me. Now I gotta get you back and make you feel everything that I'm going through. And again, it's just kind of this never-ending cycle. It's a downward spiral that would just continuously go on and on and on if you let it. And so I hope you can take something away from today, because stories like this is a much healthier way to approach these kind of situations and scenarios, because ultimately it's letting go of control, letting go of all that pain, all that trauma, and all those hard emotions that you felt, giving it to God and saying, all right, God, like you got it from here. I will do my best to love and forgive this person, but ultimately you know what's best for me, you know what I can handle, and then this is also your son or your daughter that did this to me. So I trust that you'll discipline them or correct them or shape them in the way that you want them to go about this and learn from this. You know what I mean? Like having that perspective change, just it creates a lot more peace and a lot more happiness inside of you, instead of holding on to that stress, holding on to that hurt, and then just like being gripped with it, letting it control you, letting it make you making certain decisions now based out of that fear and that emotion, or not fear, but you know what I'm saying, like that trauma, that pain. Like that's what's driving you, that's what's causing you to make certain decisions. And so today we're jumping into the story of Joseph. And for those not familiar, Joseph is an incredible example of this. You know, he just went through a crazy situation in life and just hardship after hardship that he was kind of thrown into. And the story is crazy, y'all. I'm telling you, if you got time, definitely go read it. And I know we all got time to go read it, so you better go read it. But it's in Genesis, so it's the first book in the Bible. You don't have to go far. And it really starts around like chapter 36, 37, and just goes until about chapter 50. You know, it's kind of the story about Jacob, his family, and then ultimately his son Joseph. And that's who we're talking about today. And so Joseph is one of 12. He's got 11 other brothers. but he is actually the favorite. So Joseph's dad loves him the most. You know, he kind of treats him a little bit extra special, and you know, he doesn't hide it. He's not shy about like loving Joseph the best. Like all the other brothers can feel it, they can see it. Like, man, he's getting treated better than we are. And so obviously what comes next with that out of human emotion is jealousy. You know, the brothers, most of them, not all of them, most of them start to talk about this, right? They starting to plot a little bit. You know how it goes, like all of a sudden you talking to one, like, oh yeah, have you noticed that with Joseph? Like how dad's treating him a certain way, and then that kind of bleeds out, right? More and more of the brothers are starting to get a little amped up about this. And so as time goes, they start to plot in ways like they can try and get back at him or try and honestly get rid of him. Like they plot to kill him. Like literally his brothers are gonna try and kill him just because he's the favorite. And ultimately too, you know, Joseph is good at interpreting dreams, and he has a pretty crazy dream where he's going to rule above his other brothers. And obviously that didn't help the case at all. You know, that ended up making them more mad at him, like the brothers more mad at Joseph. But I don't want to like spend too much time explaining his life story, because we're going to end up being here at the end of his situation, end of his road, as far as him and his brother's drama and his family drama goes. But please go back and read it. It's crazy, I'm telling you. I'll kind of leave you on a cliffhanger on that, but just like a couple other major points is like Joseph ends up getting sold into slavery. He didn't end up killing him. 1 and 2, they sold him to slavery. As he's enslaved, he ends up getting thrown into jail innocently because a woman in the palace he's working in has been trying to get with him. He keeps dodging her, running away from her. One of the days she catches him in a room by himself, ends up like grabbing him. He still slips away, but she keeps his coat, his clothing, claims like he was trying to assault her or take advantage of her, and he gets thrown in jail. And this is all while like it starts around like when Joseph's 17 into like his mid-late 20s. Eventually gets out when he's like 30 years old, and he essentially rises into power, into second place in the palace of Egypt, right behind Pharaoh. And so fast forwarding on, Joseph's family, you know, his brothers that all kind of forgot about him, let him go, sold him into slavery. They're in a position where their country's in a famine and they're running out of goods. They're on shortage of everything. And so they got to come to Egypt to get some goods, just get some food to stay alive. And Joseph is in that position where it's like Pharaoh gave him the green light, like, hey, anybody that comes to us from any outside country, like they got to come to you. You got to kind of decipher, and you can maneuver in certain ways as far as letting them, you know, managing what they get, or, you know, how you kind of go about like how, if they're welcome to stay here, whatever, you know, it's a case by case thing. But essentially that's where Joseph is, right? After all this time has passed, he now has his brothers who betrayed him, sold him into slavery, again, tried to kill him at first. That was their initial plan. And now they're kind of coming to him in a position of vulnerability and weakness with their families. Now they got kids. Everybody's grown up now. Like his dad is super old at the time now too. Like they're all grown. So ultimately it's like, I just really want you to think about that. And again, I had to kind of skim through some of the details, but that's the gist. Like people that do you wrong, kick you while you're down, mock you, betray you, kick you to the curb, and then ultimately tides turn, right? You are then in a position where they might need you for something, or they might be in a position of vulnerability or weakness, and you might have an opportunity to reach out and show them love or be there for them if they're going through a hard time or hard season, right? Of course, our natural human reaction, our fleshly desire is going to be to kick them while they're down because that's what they did to us. But we see Joseph doing the complete opposite. And I just hope that you guys can sit on this and reflect on this, let it kind of soak in, and ultimately impact the way that you guys maneuver in situations similar to this. Obviously, this is crazy. Like, I never had anything happen to me to the extent like this. But again, I just hope it does encourage you in some way. So I'm just gonna read a few quick verses to show kind of how it all ends as far as like what Joseph does when he shows his brothers like, hey, this is me. Because when that time came, that famine hit and they came back, they didn't even recognize Joseph. Like they didn't even realize it was their brother because it had been so many years at this time. And it was from, again, he was in his teens, now they're grown. Like they don't recognize him at all. They didn't even realize it was him, but Joseph knew it was his brothers right away. So like, just again, a crazy dynamic. But wanted to paint that picture for you guys briefly. Again, encouraging you to go back and take a read to get some of the further details if you're interested. And picking up in this spot here, it's in Genesis 45 verse 4. And this is when Joseph actually tells his brothers face to face, like, hey, I am your brother that you sold into slavery. So again, that's kind of the overall scene of where we're entering in. And so it says in chapter 45 verse 4, and Joseph said unto his brothers, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that you sold me hither, or you sold me here. For God did send me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years has the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by great deliverance. So now it was not that you sent me here, but God. He had made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout the land of Egypt. Man, it is insane to me how Joseph takes all of that, years and years and years of betrayal, isolation, his family literally like disowning him, selling him into slavery, and he looks at them in their face after all this time like they're begging for food, begging for resources. And his response is just so beautiful, like, don't be angry, do not grieve this, like God sent me here. And it is just like, man, I look back on my life and I'm like, I wish I had that perspective for all the times that something bad happened to me, or I found myself being betrayed or backstabbed or put in a bad position because of external situations or circumstances. And it's like, what if you reframed it to look at it like, no, God did that. He designed all those things to happen. As much pain and hurt as it caused you, what if it was to preserve life at the end of the day? That's what Joseph is saying. Like, hey, we're only 2 years in, we got 5 years left. It's a 7-year famine. And if he wasn't in that position, who knows, like if his brothers or even him, like if he was still with his family, they tried to go to Egypt and get goods and resources, like who knows how it would have happened or what would have changed in the story. You know what I mean? Like him, Joseph, going into slavery to then get a position of leadership in Egypt to be able to feed his family. It's just such a beautiful picture. It's such a beautiful image. And I just, that heart posture in Joseph is inspiring. And so that's where I leave us today. Again, this is just kind of part one. I'll continue on a similar sentiment next week. But what areas of your life or what relationships where you feel like you've been done so wrong and you just grieve that you want revenge, you want to get back per se on that person, on that family member? What if we just flipped our perspective, changed our thinking, our thought process into, hey, God has a purpose behind every little move that he makes. And I'm sure while Joseph was imprisoned falsely, right, being innocent and still being in jail and being a slave for all those years, like I'm sure there was nights where he's looking up at the sky and he can't sleep. He's like, man, I can't stand it. My brothers did me like this, and God, why are you doing this? Why is all this happening? It's not written. I can only interpret that based on what I would be doing. That's just, I feel like that's human to be like, God, why did this happen, man? Like, why are you allowing me to go through so much hardship right now? But ultimately, you see what comes out and what prevails is that heart of forgiveness, that heart of love, and ultimately being able to look at it on a much bigger scale than letting our feelings of anger and frustration and jealousy and bitterness and hatred, like letting those lead us and push our decision making. Like let the love win, man. It's a beautiful image, it's a beautiful story, and it's a way that I'm challenging you guys to live. I'm definitely on that same walk with you. I'm trying to get better in this department every day. But ultimately, I love y'all. I appreciate you being here. It's my hope and prayer that in some way this video challenged you, convicted you, or driving you to change and improve. Just become a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday. And lean in, try and draw closer to God. Read stories like this that just give you a fresh set of eyes, open up your heart a little bit, and ultimately live life the way that God designed it for us, which is the best way possible. So again, I appreciate y'all being here. Until next time, peace.